Hi and welcome. On today's show, we take to the skates with the ladies of the State College Area Roller Derby, make peanut butter chocolate Easter eggs, and head over to Mel's house for a new kitchen encounters. These and so much more coming up next on the center of it all. Welcome to the center of it all. I'm your host, Alex Rabb. There's a lot going on today, so let's get started. Did you know that roller derbies are on the up and up once more? So Andrew Callista went over to Penn Skates to talk to the women of the State College Area Roller Derby.
Thanks, Alex. You might call it a blast from the past, but roller derby is back and it's picking up steam all across the country. And here in State College, it's no different with the State College Area Roller Derby girls.
SCARD is a skater-owned and operated flat track derby league, and unlike the television version, this is actually real, says Danny Savage.
It's a legitimate sport. It's a contact sport. Like I grew up playing, basketball and softball, and the contact is very minimal. But this is like, skate your hardest, hit someone as hard as you can, and keep going.
So football on skates, basically. I love it. But why would anyone subject themselves to this pain?
It's about women who want to demonstrate that we can be as physical as men. It's very contact. You have to get your skating in order. There's a lot of rules. And you do want it to be physical because the crowd, that's what they're responding to. So it's not staged. It's all based on talent.
A race involves 10 women, 8 blockers, 2 jammers, and each jammer tries to lap opponents to score. And to do that, you need speed, strength, and fitness. But Pinky Balboa says you need something extra.
And you have to be a little bit crazy, I think, too. There has to be a little switch that doesn't quite work right in the head.
We all have days that make us crazy. Our boss, kids, traffic, you name it. But what's awesome about SCAR? These girls just get it out all on the track.
I need an outlet to get out my aggression. This is why I'm always smiling. It's because I get to go and hip check people on a regular basis.
Did I mention SCAR has a training program? Think you can handle it? Head on over to Penn Skates or scarderby.blogspot.net for more information. You'll just be some fresh meat for a while.
Wow, those State College Area Roller Derby girls sure skate fast and they hit even harder. This is no date for The Bachelor. For the center of it all, I'm Andrew Callista.
Thanks, Andrew. We have to take a break, but when we return, we get this story on a special holiday that's right around the corner. Welcome back. Passover is right around the corner. It's an important holiday to many in Center County. Here's a look at why. Spring is coming up quickly, which means Passover is too. Passover, or Pesach, is an 8-day festival to celebrate the emancipation of the Israelites from slavery in ancient Egypt. This holiday occurs every year in the Hebrew month of Nisan. Moses was a man chosen by God to help free his people from slavery. God sent 10 plagues on Egyptians to get Pharaoh to free the Israelites. The 10th plague was death of the firstborn. God spared the children of Israel by passing over their homes. For those of you catching on, this is where the term Passover came to be. When it gets closer to Passover, you may notice matzah being sold in your grocery stores. Matzah is an unleavened bread that is eaten because when the Jews were leaving Egypt, they didn't have enough time to wait for the bread to rise. There are many different recipes that use matzah in different ways, including the favorite matzah ball soup. Another custom is the Seder that is observed on the first 2 nights of Passover. Each family follows their own family traditions during them. Families read from the Haggadah to share the stories with the children. It's a holiday that is important to continue on traditions with the family. Penn State Hillel is a center for Jewish campus life. This year, the organization is offering 5 different types of seders which best matches your own style. And if you want to host your own seder with your friends or family, materials can be supplied. If you're not a student but interested in Jewish life, check out Congregation Brit Shalom, located in State College. Easter is also coming up. One local church helps raise money by making some delicious chocolate-covered peanut butter Easter eggs. John Stroh gets the scoop.
What's Easter without a chocolate-covered Easter egg? And at the Pine Hall Lutheran Church in State College, they make some of the best around.
This year, the church will make around 12,000 eggs. And Linda Lockbaum of State College talks about how this fundraiser for the church has grown.
We've been doing this a little over 10 years. We started out like just making 3,000, and then we worked up to 7,000, then 10,000, and we've made as many as 17,000.
And while the goal is to raise money for the church, there's a much bigger payoff for Lochbaum and the rest of the volunteers.
We have a very good time doing it. We build up wonderful relationships. I think a great deal of it is the camaraderie that we have. We get to know each other, find out who needs something. You know, we'll have discussions, well, so-and-so was in the hospital, how are they doing? Well, I called them the other day, we get the feedback, and it just really promotes a real sense of community.
The Easter egg sale at Pine Hall Lutheran Church has helped to build a great sense of community, and that wouldn't be possible without a great recipe.
We actually got it from a church in southern Pennsylvania. And then, you know, over time we found the very best ingredients and just how things mix together, and when to put the vanilla in and all this kind of thing.
Lochbaum took us through the process from start to finish.
First we have the person who does the measuring, and you know, we have a very strict recipe that we follow. Then it goes in the mixer, then it comes out of the mixer, and then it's kneaded, then it's separated because we've got 2 assembly lines going. Every egg is a ½ a cup, and so they have to squish it in there and then dump it out, and then we have the people who shape it, and then after they're shaped and put on the trays, then they're put in the freezer until they're fairly frozen and firm, and then they're dropped in the chocolate and dipped. As soon as they're out of the chocolate, then they go to the table where we put the little swirls on the top, because the chocolate sets up really quite rapidly. And so we don't have long time to put the swirls on. Then they take them off of the tray, make sure that the egg looks good. Do we have to do any repairs to the bottom? Make sure there's even amount of chocolate all the way around the egg. And then after that, we carve off the extra chocolate, trim it up good so that it's the shape of an egg, and then it can be placed in the bag, and it goes from the bag to fill the orders.
While Lochbaum wouldn't give away any secret ingredients, she did give us this key tip.
Whether we're making the peanut butter or the coconut, that we've got just the right amount of ingredients so that they firm up just the way we want them. So when we dip them in the chocolate, they cool off. That's a very important step.
You can purchase eggs on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 8 to noon. And the last day they'll be making eggs is March 16th. And from there on out, they're available on a first-come, first-served basis. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. For the center of it all, I'm John Stroh.
Thanks, John. Hopefully some of those will end up in your Easter basket this year. Now hold on tight. We'll be right back with a new Kitchen Encounters. Hello, I'm Alex Rabb. Our resident foodie Mel Prosciutti has made quite the gamut of food, and today she tops it off with lamb. Let's sit down with her as she prepares a delicious leg of lamb, smashed potatoes, and peas in our newest Kitchen Encounters.
Wondering what to cook for dinner tonight? Beef, pork, lamb? If you're like me, when you hear lamb, you think spring. Today, I'm going to share my secrets for a succulent, boneless lamb roast. I'm going to be serving it with some creamy au jus next to Mel's mint and cheddar smashed potatoes, along with some spring green peas. Let's get started. I like to make boneless lamb roasts because they're less cumbersome and they're a lot easier to carve at the end. But no matter what kind of lamb roast you're cooking, you never seem to get enough of drippings to make the gravy. So I've decided to invent a way to help Mother Nature along. What I have here is 5 cups of beef stock, and I've added 6 tablespoons of my favorite steak sauce, which is called pica pepper, which is a Jamaican steak sauce. Use your favorite kind. What I'm going to add next is 6 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And half a cup of red wine. I'm using port. I'm going to give this a really nice stir. Make sure they're all incorporated. And then what I'm going to do, switch this out, put my roasting pan up here. I'm going to add 2 cups of my au jus mixture to the bottom of a 9 by 13-inch roasting pan. And I'm going to add the rest of this to a 10-inch skillet or chef's pan. And we'll reduce this on the stovetop in just a little while. Adding a sprig of rosemary to the bottom of my roaster. Lamb and rosemary are classic. I've got my lamb roast on a rack in the pan. I'm going to generously sprinkle it with garlic powder. Garlic and lamb are classic. Sprinkling of sea salt. And your favorite pepper. I'm using a peppercorn blend. Feel free to use black pepper if that's your favorite. I'm going to pop this in a 450-degree oven for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to lower the temperature to 350, and I'm going to let it roast uncovered for an hour to an hour and a half, or until it reaches an internal temperature of 150 to 155 degrees. And I never rely on these little internal pop-up oven stuffer roasting thermometers. I like to use an instant read meat thermometer that just goes into the thickest part of the center section of the meat for about 10 seconds. Because what happens is these things tend to pop up too soon or too late, and you're always going to end up with either a raw roast or an overcooked roast. And when it comes to lamb, it's got to be medium rare. I've peeled and coarsely chopped a 5-pound bag of potatoes, and I'm using gold potatoes today for their nice color and creamy texture. I drained them thoroughly and put the potatoes right back into the hot stock pot. Now what I'm going to add is a stick and a half of butter at room temperature. I like to pre-soften it, and 2 cups, about 8 ounces of grated yellow cheddar cheese. Give this a quick stir to kind of get as much of this cheese to the bottom of the pot and the butter as possible. Teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of white pepper, and about 4 tablespoons of dried mint flakes. If you've never tasted mint in mashed potatoes, you are in for a treat. I'm going to stir this around. Put the lid on the pot and let it sit for just about 2 or 3 minutes until all the butter is melted and the cheese is really, really gooey soft. Oh, this smells fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The next thing, we're going to add about a cup and a half of cream. Yes, folks, cream. Nothing is better than cream in mashed potatoes. And 2 beaten eggs. Eggs is my secret ingredient, and my great aunt taught me to do this. It adds so much richness to mashed potatoes. It's unbelievable. We've got a nice, stirred these around just so everything's combined. And at this point it looks a little watery, and it's supposed to. These are mashed, well, these are going to be smashed potatoes. Now, right here on the stovetop, I'm going to use my handy dandy potato smasher masher. And I'm going to use all of the muscles I have left in this lifetime to mash these to the desired consistency. In about 5 or 6 minutes, my potatoes are perfectly mashed, smashed, because I like them with little chunks in it. Clean off my masher. I'm going to put the lid on this pot, set it to the back of the stove, and I'm quickly going to butter poach my peas. I've melted a stick and a half of butter in a saucepan over low heat. I'm going to give it a generous sprinkling of white pepper. If you like black pepper better, feel free to use it. And a generous sprinkling of sea salt. I'm going to add frozen peas. Fresh peas are out of season right now. 2 bags. This is so easy. I'm going to stir these around, and they'll get a little clumpy looking. That's okay, worry not. Turn the stove to low, put a lid on, and let them cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. Oh, my peas are cooked, they're beautiful. They're all coated in just a little bit of butter, and they're still a really vibrant green.
When we come back, Mel puts the finishing touches on the dish and we sit down to eat. Thanks for joining us on the center of it all. Now let's head back to Mel's kitchen for the rest of our kitchen encounters.
I brought my au jus to a rapid simmer, and I've left it cook for about 5 minutes so that it reduces just a little bit. Now I'm going to add the lean portion of all of these flavor-packed lamb juices. Now if your separator gets a little bit clogged up, just hold a fork over the front of it and it'll unclog it immediately. A little bit more. The second you see fat coming out, stop the show. Now, I do an optional step. I like to add just a little bit of cream, maybe 4 tablespoons, and that really mellows the flavor. I'm going to let this simmer for another minute or 2, take it off the stove, move over to the counter, and it's time to eat. Once upon a time, lamb was only available to us in the spring. Thanks to countries like Australia and New Zealand, high-quality lamb is available to us in the United States all year long. Think spring. Make some lamb. For these and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
If you've never tried lamb before, I highly suggest it. It's delicious and the gentlest red meat for our digestive system. If you make the meal, let us know how it turns out by posting on our Facebook page. Now, health is a very important issue, and the doctors over at the Cleveland Clinic are making strides in women's health.
A new study finds fragments of blood platelets, which activate clotting, may contribute to the development of memory problems and increase stroke risk in postmenopausal women. Dr. Xavier Provencio did not take part in the study, but treats stroke patients at Cleveland Clinic.
It shows that otherwise healthy women who aren't smokers, who don't have previous heart disease, and who don't have other risk factors are still at risk for having some of these findings on MRI, which we know are associated with memory problems in the future.
Mayo Clinic researchers studied 95 postmenopausal women. They found those with higher levels of the platelet fragments also developed changes in the white matter of the brain. These changes are typically tied to memory problems and the potential for an increased risk of stroke. But the findings are preliminary. Researchers say coming up with ways to prevent the platelets from developing could one day decrease the risk. Dr. Provencio says the findings are a first step to figuring that out.
It's clear that menopause is a period of time that puts women at additional risk for heart disease and stroke, even if they don't have the classic risk factors. I think the take-home message for women is that around this period is a good time to reevaluate with your doctor your risk factors and ways that you might be able to prevent stroke and heart attack.
Complete findings for the study are in the Journal of the American Academy of Neurology.
Big news for the 2013 holiday. Our friend Victor Lucas over at Electric Playground went to New York City to get the skinny on the PlayStation 4.
This is the foundation of our next generation platform, PlayStation 4.
Why was this the year to launch the PlayStation 4? Why didn't you come out with it a little bit sooner? I mean, it feels like the industry was really hungry for this new technology.
Yeah, the reason is we wanted that time the industry is ready. Because PS3 was such a powerful system, so far as developers are still squeezing the power out of PS3. But we've been working on PS4 for a long time. We started to see some developers doing iteration of the same kind of games, and consumers, demanding more. And we are like, okay, 2013, that's the time.
One of the nice surprises here at the PlayStation 4 meeting was the playable demonstration of Watch Dogs on PlayStation 4 hardware. Tell us about developing for this new platform.
It's been a blast, actually. It's super interesting to work with new technology all the time. Like, it enables our creativity to the next level. And I think what you guys just saw is just a chunk of our game. Yeah. So we used a couple of weeks to just tweak the way we would play it. One of the challenges, the guy who plays has a really hard job. The game is unpredictable. The systems are just running. So he really needs to play it over and over and over again just to make sure he plays it the right way, that the audience have the right time to see everything. It was just the game progressing naturally.
I'm with David Cage from Quantic Dream, who's got Beyond Two Souls coming out this year, and you also showed us an eerie glimpse into the future of your rendering techniques for the PlayStation 4. Tell us about the head that you showed us. What are we seeing that we haven't been able to see before in video games?
Well, this is the head of an old man that we scan in 3D, so it's a real actor. We use a motion capture on his face. So we wanted to see how realistic we could get using the power of the PlayStation 4, and we were surprised by how far we could go, because the machine is so powerful. It allows you to do things that you thought were impossible before.
Hopefully, as we approach the holidays this year, we'll have more information on this popular gaming system for you. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. Before you go, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and YouTube. Now have a great rest of your day.